Solana has less than 41 days left before we are going to have to see a breakout to either the upside or the downside that I think is going to have some pretty strong influence on the rest of the price for the next couple of weeks and for the next couple months. Now, what we are going to be talking about today is a time in which we have seen something almost exactly the same as to what we are seeing now and how that did play out, so we can start to get expectations and ideas of exactly what we can be looking for here on the Solana price. Now, I do want you guys to understand that what we are seeing in the world right now in terms of the Russia-Ukraine situation, in terms of the US inflation and just the world inflation is not good, okay? And so those macro environmental factors will have a strong impact on the price here, but it is always important to focus on your technicals as well as your fundamental environmental research, because they will give you ideas of where we can find some of these bottoms or where we can start to say that momentum is surely shifting towards the upside in which the bulls are stepping in. So with that said, let's go ahead and let's get straight into today's video. Now, the biggest thing we're going to focus on are 4 key points to the setup on the price in which we are seeing now. The first one is going to be just the general idea of what is going on, right? We started to see we were setting these new all-time highs and we were doing amazing. From there, we saw the pretty big drop off, followed by a level of consolidation with not too much going on, right? We've seen some swings to the upside, some swings to the downside, but overall, nothing too dramatic and nothing too significant. Now, in that same time frame, we're going to pull up our RSI here, and we're going to kind of just look to see what all is going on the weekly and the daily perspective. Now, on the weekly perspective, we can see that we do still have a pretty, a very strong drive of divergence in which we are seeing the low and at the moment what still is the higher low, with the low and the lower low back towards this 40 level on the RSI, and again the weekly based perspective. Now, this is going to be a key example of some bullish divergence, in which tells us that if we are to see the breakout towards the upside, the bulls have much more room to move to the upside, and although the price is falling and although momentum is going towards the downside, the bears are not having the same amount of success in pushing the price to these similar levels, to a lower low, as they would have if we weren't seeing this divergence. So this is always a good sign. Now, if we look at this on a daily perspective, what we can see is that we are in a double-sided divergence that is leading to a general downtrend on the price and a general uptrend on the daily RSI. What this double divergence looks like is us seeing the lower highs on the price, higher highs on the RSI, the lower lows on the price, and the higher lows on the RSI. Now, generally speaking, when we see these lower highs and higher highs, this is going to be bearish divergence. But also, generally speaking, when we see some of these lower lows and higher lows on the RSI, that's bullish divergence. They don't usually happen at the same exact time. It's actually very uncommon that they happen at the same time on the daily time frames. And so for that reason, that's why I wanted to show you guys the last time we did see something of this nature play out. Now, at the same time that we are starting to see this structure forming while we are seeing these divergences, we can see that our daily MACD is not doing too much at this point. We can see that it is constantly just intertwining without much give or take to either direction, which shows that we are somewhat coiling up. And generally, when we do coil up to this nature, we will see these stronger moves to the upside, similarly to what we saw back there. We don't usually coil up, and break down, but of course, it is always possible. Now, in relation to the daily MACD, we can look at the weekly MACD to say that momentum is obviously swinging in the direction of the bulls as we are printing these pink bars, and we are continuing to work our way up to what could possibly be a bullish cross relatively soon over the next few months if we do see a break to the upside. So those are the key identifiers of this move in the setup in which we are seeing right now. Now, what I want to do is compare that to what we saw from Bitcoin in the summer lull of 2021 to show you guys the comparisons and to show you guys how these are playing out almost exactly the same. Now, let's look at Bitcoin in the summer lull of 2021. Well, let's of course first start with structure. Structurally, we can see that we were setting these new all-time highs. We're doing absolutely amazing before seeing a strong crash into a consolidational event in which we're seeing some swings to the upside, some swings to the downside, but really nothing too justifiable, nothing too exciting, right? Little bit of a level of being bored. Now, in the same time frame in which we are doing that, what we can do is look at our weekly RSI to kind of get an idea of if there were any divergences forming at this time. What you can see is that throughout the time in which we were setting this, seeing this kind of boring time frame here, you can see that we set this low, and we actually barely set the higher low, but we very clearly set the low in the lower low, the exact same weekly RSI bullish divergence in which we are seeing on the Solana charts. If we zoom down to the daily RSI to look at this thing from that perspective, what you can see is that we are also starting to see a very similar play out in which we are constantly seeing these lower highs and lower lows while setting these higher highs, and higher lows on the RSI. The exact same setup as to what we are seeing on the Solana charts. If we look at the thing from a MACD perspective, what we can see from the MACD is that as we did enter into this period of boringness and this nothingness, you can see that we were in a general uptrend that became very, very consolidated without anything too strong to either side. Macro bullish and macro bearish breakouts constantly until we did get the stronger breakout to the upside. And in that same time frame in which we saw that, we can go to the weekly MACD and see that we saw the same exact setup in which that was the moment in which we did start to print these light pink bars as we did work our way towards this eventual bullish blue-orange cross because momentum was swinging in the direction of the bulls. So is this me saying this is exactly what is going to happen from Solana? No. But is it important to show that this is within the realm of possibilities, that as we did enter in towards the edge of this thing, right? As we did start to get towards the end of this descending triangle here, we got the breakout to the upside. All of these things, all of these indicators, all of this structure allowed us to see support establishment and break to the upside. All of these things tell me that it is still extremely within the realm of possibility for us to see a break to the upside for the charts on Solana here. And we just need to be paying very close attention to these levels of resistance and to these levels of support because they are going to tell us this way before maybe even the rest of the world does, right? We need to be paying attention to the fact that we are around 76% through this descending triangle. And on the Solana charts, generally speaking, we will break out around that 70 to 80% mark. It was 72% here and 75% here. And so for that reason, that was kind of my bullish thesis as to why the setup in which we are seeing right now, coming up on less than 40 days before we have to see a break from this descending triangle, tells me that we still possibly can see this move to the upside, and that is still within the realm of possibility as long as market conditions do allow. We don't go into a World War III. We don't see the Feds raise interest rates by 100% or something ridiculous. Obviously, that's not possible, but you get the point. As long as market conditions are in our favor, I definitely think that this is extremely possible, and I would be looking for the break of this downward sloping resistance relatively soon as we do edge towards the end of this apex. So overall, that's my thesis on Solana, and that's kind of my bullish take. I will be presenting a bearish scenario in the next video on Solana, so do stay tuned for that because I don't want to just tell you guys the bullishness or be a moon boy. I do want to tell you guys both sides of the perspective, and we are seeing some bearishness here and there for the Solana charts that says we could see one more spike to the downside before eventually continuing back upwards. Now, throughout this time that we have just been waiting, and throughout this time that we have just not really been doing too much in the market, realistically just been kind of bored, I have been hunting and searching the internet and just trying to find other things to do, right? And other ways to make money and other platforms and places in which I can deposit money in order to earn yields or in order to really start to grow my portfolio outside of something like Solana or Ethereum, my biggest holdings. And I wanted to talk to you guys really quickly about one today named AAX. Now, AAX is a platform that offers a lot of different perks, and they offer a lot of things that I think are going to be beneficial to the people who watch my channel. You know, those of you who do like yield farming, those of you who do like some of your altcoins, I think this is really appealing. So I wanted to take a quick second just to talk about some of the things in which they do have. Now, as I did open up my account, they actually did fund me with a $50 USDT bonus, in which you can also get another $110 USDT bonus. You just, of course, have to sign up and go through the process, and it will be provided in the referral link in the description down below, as they are a sponsor of today's video. But I think that's always exciting, right? Whenever we're losing money in crypto, let's go on a platform and let's see if we can get some free money. That is always a good thing, okay? But they also offer some things that I think are actually beneficial just to the overall ecosystem and what we are seeing right now. Now, a few of the most interesting to me and something that I am personally going to take advantage of are some of the APY and yields in which they do offer. Some of the most notable, of course, being what we can see for first-time exclusive members on a one-time subscription. You can see on something like BNB, you can see a 60% estimated EPY. We can see 70% here, 150%, 12%, 60% on UST. We have 12% here on Avalanche. I mean, they offer some extremely amazing APYs that I think are going to just genuinely help people, especially throughout times of bear markets. And so, of course, it's always something. It's just always something to check out. You, of course, can see that there are going to be some lockup periods for some things. For example, for a first-time exclusive USDT subscriber, you can see that there's a 60% APY here for a 7% lockup period. Now, of course, that's not 60% in 7 days. It's saying over the course of 7 days, you will earn on average 60% per year, if that makes sense. Now, they also do have some other things such as, let's go ahead. and go to the DeFi mining platform section. And what you can see here is that they have they have some really good APYs for some of your newer, more exciting cryptos that do come out. For Samo USDC, there's 35%, Samo Race 70%, PNG 30%, Samo 20%, Inbox 50%. And so they do actually offer some pretty exciting yields for some of your newer, more exciting cryptos as well. And I think that's another thing that people are pretty excited about, because it's like, okay, while we are starting to again see the market not doing much, how can we take those interesting, exciting cryptos that usually would be just taking off and still make some gains from them? That is one of the most exciting aspects to me. And lastly, for those of you who are still here, which I hope you are, because this is exciting as well, over the next 16 days, you actually have the ability, while buying crypto through their platform, to win an iPhone 13 Pro. I encourage you all to go to campaign.aax.com, or you can just use the link in the description down below. But the people who buy at least 200 USDT worth of crypto in a single order on this page through the designated channels such as ITEZ, Zanpool, or Coinify, you will receive a random reward or treasure box key. When you collect 5 keys, you can get a mysterious prize, and these prizes do range pretty wildly to some very amazing things. And so of course there is some type of giveaway for those of you who are looking to use their platform to get to spend of course over $200 on a single order. So there's a lot here. There's a lot to unpack. I did not really even know about this platform, but I didn't realize how good they were and how good some of the offers in which they have. You guys know I always bring platforms and projects onto the channel that I think have potential, that I think could benefit my viewers. So of course, if you do use them, if you find them to be beneficial, please let me know in the comment section below. Maybe we can bring them back to the channel, as I do think that there is some potential here. So with that said though, that is going to be about it for today's video. And of course, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, you can always let me know simply by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new. And I will see you all next time. Peace.